Greetings, EastEnders fans, and welcome to another episode of Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week, discussing the episodes broadcast between the 14th to the 17th of April 2025. Hello, how are you? Sorry we're late. We did warn you. And well done. Nobody messaged us and asked, where's the pod? So you all listened, it worked, you all paid attention. Thank you so much. And listen, you lot, thank you very much for your kind comments in the comment section last week about my writing. I'll tell you all about it in a second when I've introduced this lovely lady. Hello, Ree, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you, Rob. You know, there's time yet for people to complain. It's still
That's
Saturday
true.
morning.
Yeah, we haven't uploaded it yet, have we? So there
No.
is time. There is time. If you did miss the what we were doing last week, I went away for a little writers' retreat to Devon. It went so well. I got so much work done. I'm so excited about this book. I can't even tell you. I'm really
so
thrilled
impressed
with
with how much you managed to get done, Rob. So
20,000 odd words I got done. That's 2 dissertations at uni.
Wait, 20? You said 45,000.
No, the book's 45,000 words in total so far, and I got 20 odd thousand words done while I was away. 45,000 in a week. You having a laugh?
I did think, wow, but even still, 20,000. Yeah, that's a very good effort.
Not bad, is it?
Done.
Not bad. I was really pleased, really pleased with it so far. Can't wait to keep going with it. But unfortunately, now I've come back to work, back to the world of reality.
Back to reality.
Yes.
But Rob,
yes,
whilst you were there,
yes, in Devon,
any scones?
Scones or scones, is it, for a start? Scones, yeah.
Scones.
I'm one of these that pronounces it either way, like depending what mood I'm in. You know, like grass and grass.
Yeah.
I can flip between the two, yeah.
Either or either.
Either or either, tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. But yes, I know the question you're going to ask me. I know the question you're going to ask me about what am I going to ask you? Just to give you a bit of context to anyone who doesn't live in the UK, Devon and Cornwall, right? They have a war that goes on. If you prepare a scone or a scone, there's a row that goes on whether you put the cream on first and then the jam, or the jam on first and then the cream. Now, obviously, I was in Devon. And because I couldn't remember which one was which when I was in Devon, and I asked the woman behind the counter, and she genuinely said to me, no word of a lie, like really conspiratorially, she leaned forward and went, "It's cream first and then the jam. All right, my lover. And don't let anyone round here see you doing anything different. All right." I was like, "Oh God!" For a start, I didn't realise that people actually said "my lover." I thought that was like,
call you my lover.
She did. I thought that was a stereotype. You know, like Irish people.
I thought you were doing that then.
Yeah, you know, like Irish people don't actually say "top of the morning" to you. I thought it was like one of them. It's just a stereotype that's been applied. No, she actually said it to me, and she said that like don't do it any other way around here. Otherwise, you know, the implication was I'll get beaten up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But to be fair, cream and then jam, that makes sense to me.
I agree.
It makes sense.
Jam, because the cream, for me,
it's like the butter. It's the butter, exactly. You spread the cream first like a butter and then stick the jam on. It makes perfect sense. Sorry, anyone. Sorry if you're from Cornwall. I expect you realise this is going to be our most controversial episode ever. We are going to be inundated with abuse now we've said this. So prepare yourself, Ree. Prepare yourself.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Then jam me.
Get scared at us. At me. Right, so on to this week's EastEnders. We've lost Sonia, we've lost Bianca, and we've lost the trumpet. Sad times. Yes, we have. Very, very sad.
Yeah, it is sad times. I don't know.
End of an era.
It was. Well, I've got many thoughts.
Got thoughts?
Ending. Yeah,
oh, it's a good job we're doing a podcast about EastEnders then, isn't it? Right. So that's a good job. Yes, you're in the right place. And there's some other bits and pieces as well. Avani, we've got Nicola and Zack, all sorts to be discussing in this week's Albert Square After Dark. Right, we'll kick off this week. We're talking about Avani, and she obviously. The aftermath of the strip search continues. She's still really upset about it, and she has sort of fallen to the wayside. She's not taking a lot of drugs. She's having a bit of weed, isn't she? I don't think there's any other. Smoking a bit of weed. And obviously weed's terrible. Weed's a really, really bad thing, and they should all be shot. It's because they.
She is young. She's quite.
She is young. She is. Yeah. Amy has arranged a house party.
Yes.
These things never go well in Walford. All right. Underage people having parties in Walford, I've never seen a successful one happen in the whole of EastEnders' history. You know, it
No.
just never goes well. And this one is no exception because she lets slip to one of her dealer friends. Now, for a start, I can't believe how many different dealer friends Avani's had. She's got a good like repertoire of people that she can get drugs from because this is not the same guy that dropped the drugs at her feet so that got her strip searched in the first place.
No, it's not, is it?
No,
But
it's not.
ironically, they're probably all getting it from her dad as well, so she needs to cut
Yeah,
all these middlemen out,
just
doesn't she,
I know, just to
really?
go and ask her dad. Surely that'd be
Yeah,
easier. I mean, I know
sure he's
Ravi's
got it.
unlikely to say, "Oh yeah, there you go, darling." Like you know, he's handing a fiver for lunch money, but
I agree. However,
there's a
do you
level of
remember
hypocrisy.
who were it he tried to Gina when he
Yeah,
saw her going to randomers and he was like, look, if you're gonna
come to me.
do it safely. Come
Yeah,
to me.
come
I'll
to
make
me.
sure it's all right stuff for you.
This is what I mean. I feel slightly like someone needs to have a word with Ravi and say, "Do you want to get off your eye perch for a second, dear mate? You're a drug dealer."
Well, I didn't think
Like,
he was that bad because remember they were very like, you need to tell us everything. You can tell us everything, and they weren't
yeah,
overly judgmental to her about it. I
no, I don't
think they have the
think.
approach of tell us, and we'll
Yeah,
try and
that's true. That's true. Because
guide
Priya's
you rather than berate you for it.
Yeah, because actually, thinking about it, neither of them have actually turned around and said, "Don't do drugs. That's bad." Because Priya
Mm,
obviously used to be a drug addict, and Ravi is a drug
yeah,
dealer. They're more annoyed about everything that's sort of going on around Avani and the fact of how
yeah.
she's feeling and is she doing it for the right reasons and all that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
fair
why she's
enough.
doing it, not that she's doing it.
Yeah,
Like, if
yeah, yeah,
anything, they've actually got some understanding. So
yeah.
fair play. Well, I
I'd
don't
like
know.
them to actually explore that a little bit more, sort of like. But then I guess they need to have sort of Priya and Ravi sort of be slightly above that, and they're not going to have on a soap
Yeah.
two parents saying, "Yeah, no, fine, there's a joint, yeah, chill."
No, you
They're
can't
not
do.
going to do
I
that, are
think,
they? You can't show that. So
to be honest, after this week, I think that'll be the end of it for Avani anyway. I
you
think they
reckon
just want,
at the end of drugs?
yeah,
Well, she took them away, didn't she? So maybe she is sort
yeah,
of knocking it on the head a bit, and she's realised why she's doing it and the
yeah.
sort of world it's leading her into. Like she's seen EastEnders before, she knows how bad it can get.
She
You know,
knows how
she
this
does,
goes. Yeah,
she does, because she chucks it in the bin. Now, I think it was established that Jack found them in the bin. They didn't show him finding them, but then he sort of came round to the
no,
Panesars
because
waving it
when
around, didn't he?
I think what happened was because it were a small bag in the bin. I don't know
Yeah.
how anyone can't smell this, by the way.
Oh,
Like when
it's
she's walking
pungent,
around, but
isn't
there you
it?
go. Yeah.
Pungent.
Um, but then I think, when he kicked the dealers out of the house, I think they dropped a bigger bag of it.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's what happened.
Right,
So I don't
okay.
think anyone, because I was like how she placed it in the top of the bin. I was like, oh, she's gonna go back for that later. Then she's just like placed it delicately in the top, but she
Yeah,
didn't.
like really respectfully.
Yeah, yeah. Don't need to
Like,
get too angry
you
about
know,
this. I'll
put
just
that down very
place you there.
gently, lay some
Yeah,
flowers beside the bin just to make it all really, really
yeah,
respectful. Yeah, because I thought what was going to happen was that she was going to have like that moment of like, oh yeah, no, I don't need this, and then something was going to happen,
yeah.
and then she was just
I
going to
thought the
like,
same.
and then she was going to take them back, but that never happened.
No.
She, these drug dealers turn up at the house party, and she's like, no, what are you doing here? And they're all sort of like looking around for new clientele. So she tells Amy. Amy rings Jack. Jack comes and waves his ID around and gets rid of them, and then they flee. Now, Jack also goes around to the Panesars and says, "Look, this complaint you're making, the officers did it all by the book. All right." And we
Mhm.
saw the officers again this week, and that
Yes.
woman, if anything, has become more of a bitch. Like, she's awful, that
Yeah.
woman. I can't stand her.
Yeah. It's a really tough. Well, actually, it's not a tough one because morally it's wrong.
Yeah, of course, that's the end of it.
That
I
is
think that's
the
what the
end of it.
storyline's telling us as well, isn't it? Like, I don't think there's
Yeah.
any ambiguity about whether the police were in the right or not in this storyline, is there?
No. And do you know what, Rob? We were speculating was it to do with race, and I don't think they are going down that route. So I don't.
No, I don't know. I think that they very much left it up in the air as to why it happened.
Okay. Okay. I think they're just trying to focus on the fact that this happens to kids rather
Yeah,
than.
possibly. Yeah, you could be right, but the vibe I've got off it is that the fact that it happened is what we're talking about, but the
Yeah.
why it happened is very much up to us to sort of
That's true.
decipher.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I don't know. I'm viewing it a bit differently now.
Mm.
Having said this, I would also fully believe that it could be due to race. I've been racially profiled myself, so for me to be
I
saying it's quite
I
ironic
love
in a
the
way.
story that you told me when you always go to the airport
Yeah. Well, do you know
and you
what?
always get checked. You're like, lucky
Funnily enough,
me.
whenever I travel with my white partner, I don't get pulled to the side for random
No,
security checks.
I
Isn't that
know.
funny?
Isn't it weird?
Isn't that
And
funny?
then when you don't and you're traveling on your own, you're the one that gets stopped for random checks. Aren't you lucky?
Yeah, usually at the boarding gate as well.
Yeah. Funny that, isn't
Mm,
it? Funny that.
yeah. Anyway,
Um,
we'll be here all
so
day on that.
I know, right? It's a separate podcast. Um, So Priya and basically the thing that Jack is basically saying is the only way this is ever going to kind of progress is if Avani goes and makes this complaint herself. So Priya tried to
Yeah.
persuade Avani to do it, and obviously Avani's like, no, I want this all
Which
to
I don't
disappear
get,
and go
by the way,
away.
either. Why
What?
is the parent complaint not enough when she's, what, 15? Why is
Yeah,
that not enough? Why have they got to have a person? Oh, I guess maybe from a legal side, you need to see the effects from the
yeah.
person. But when
Because I
they're at that
bet
age,
I agree, but I bet that they will get 100 complaints a week from parents who want to storm in there and say, "How dare you search my little darling? They would never do anything like this." When, you know, so I guess that
which is a
maybe
problem in
Avani complaining.
itself.
Oh, absolutely. But then I wonder if Avani complaining herself makes it that little bit more serious and makes it that little bit more official because it happened to her and she's relaying exactly what happened to her.
Mm.
So I think that's maybe the route they're going down with it.
I'm wondering if it's like from a legal perspective, they can show the mental health damage, like the
Maybe.
mental
Yeah.
health impact it's had
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Avani, whereas they're not showing that from a mum who's just like,
Yeah.
how dare you?
Yeah.
But still, like, why is this a legal thing? Like, this is very worrying. This is
Mm.
very worrying that this is allowed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It
don't
is. The
understand it
stats.
because,
What was it? The stats from it was like 600 odd underage
yeah.
kids were strip searched last year or something like that. It's crazy. Absolutely mental.
Mm.
And they can't
And
all of
all they
them.
need, I mean, it's not like if Arnie was in the room, they could have just waited for. I know they were like, oh, got an appropriate
Yeah.
adult, another stranger.
Yeah.
They could have just waited for a parent to come,
Yeah.
like, or a guardian if that's the case. Because what's she gonna do if she has got anything? If they have got anything on her anyway, you're in room with
Mm.
them. I don't
Yeah.
understand the need.
Did you get the sense that Jack is softening towards it slightly? Because we, at the time, when it first happened, we were all like, Jack's an arsehole because Jack made this happen. But now I'm sort of wondering whether Jack is sort of like, yes, he's a policeman, so he's got that sort of like dedication towards the force ingrained in
Mm.
his head. But at the same time, I got the impression when he was talking to those two officers that he was sort of like, not sure about this.
It's
That's
it's because he can relate to it because he's got Amy, who is
yeah,
the same age as Avani, who was actually in that. Was she there, Amy, when it happened? Yeah,
yeah,
she was in.
yeah. She
She was
was, yeah,
there when it
yeah,
happened.
yeah,
It could have very easily have been Amy that it happened to, and
yeah,
he's thinking the impact he knows it would have had on Amy. So
yeah,
I think the fact that he can now relate to it, and
mm,
it's Priya who's helped him see it from that perspective
yeah.
as well. Had it been Ravi trying to put that
No, not a
perspective to him,
chance.
maybe it'd
Not
be
a chance.
different.
Mm.
Um, but still, Jack didn't help on the day when it happened, so maybe there's a bit of guilt there as well.
Oh, I think there's guilt there because Jack at the time was being really reactionary about everything, wasn't
Mm.
he? Like he was the one that was
Like, well, a
saying
dad's a
like tr
drug dealer, so you've got to protect your family.
exactly, yeah, exactly. So Avani goes into the laundrette and sees Yolandi, and you know Yolandi does Yolandi and sort of instantly senses there's something wrong with you. Tell me immediately. And Avani tells her about what happened, and Yolandi's not going to take any of that shit.
No,
Like Yolandi storms her out to the police station and makes her make an instant complaint. Yes, Yolandi, Queen, love
yes.
her, love that woman.
I don't see. We say she stormed around. I would have kind of liked to have seen the conversation that they actually had where she
I don't
managed to
imagine there was
appeal
much
to
of one.
Avani.
Don't imagine there was much. She closed the
And
laundrette
see, I think that
and
no,
stormed her
I don't
right
think
round.
she would. I think she'd have been quite sensitive given what's happened to Yolandi
Oh, but
recently.
I think that's exactly why she would have been
Yeah.
like, you come with me, young lady, and sort
Mm.
of got it done that way. I know what you mean. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more
Yeah.
of because it's Yolandi, and I always want to see more of
Yeah.
Yolandi. So
Exactly.
I think it would. Yeah, I get what you mean. It might have been nice to sort of see more of the initial because it went from Avani saying no, no way to you talking to Yolandi, and all of a sudden she's at the police station making the complaint.
Yeah.
Like we can imagine the conversation that took
Yeah.
place, but it would have been
Yeah.
nice to see it.
Yeah, just to see a little bit would have been nice.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
you're gonna do it, yeah, we're okay. But
yeah.
it worked as well without, but it would have just
Yeah,
been nice to have
absolutely.
seen,
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
completely. Yeah, we're just being pernickety,
Mm.
maybe. Um, so she makes the complaint. So now what happens? Do we reckon? Do you reckon this is going to
Well,
make a difference? The
do you know
fact
what
that
I
they've
am?
shown those police officers again
Yeah,
makes me think that
this isn't the end of
we're
it.
getting a no, and we're going to get maybe
Well,
some form of comeuppance, or at least some more of this story.
I am glad that because we were speculating when she went and picked up the drugs after it happened. Oh no,
Mm.
Avani, now you're going to get caught with them, and now they're going
Yeah,
to go well. So I'm glad
yeah.
that they've not gone down that route. Actually,
Yet,
I'm very
yet.
glad. True, because Jack knows that she's been
Yeah, she's not out the woods
red-handed,
yet.
doesn't he?
She's not out the woods yet.
Yeah, that's true. So I hope that they don't do that with her because if they go down that route, because yeah, you're right, they could still do it because she's only turned to the
Yeah,
weed and because of what's happened to her.
Yeah, but they won't care about that. The
No.
fact that she's still doing them, no matter why you're on the drugs, you're still on the drugs. They're not bothered about the whys and the hows.
At the end of the day, I don't think anything's going to happen. I think they'll just go, in the eyes of the law, we did nothing wrong, because EastEnders can't change the law.
No, I can't see a way for them to like make Avani like win this. It doesn't seem like it's possible, just because of the way that unless I think the only way that they're going to do this is if Jack turns around and says kind of gives a more sort of official account of what he believes probably happened.
Yeah, but then still, what can Jack do, really?
I don't know. I mean, Jack apparently can do anything within the police force. Well, the amount of times someone turns around to Jack and goes, "Can you sort this?" And Jack's like, "Yeah, it's fine. Leave it with me. I'll have a word. Leave it with me." So Jack's got like insane influence.
Rob, so there is that.
We shall have to wait and see, but I like that it's kind of keep going. The fact that we saw those two officers again suggests that there's more to this storyline still to come. I thought it was interesting that she turned around to Jack and said, "You've gone soft since you've come out of uniform."
Yeah.
So that's what kind of makes me think that maybe Jack's gonna sort of have a kind of mellow out after he's had that initial sort of blow up about the fact that Amy was involved in the first place. I'm just looking for someone to blame. I wonder now he's seeing the effect that it's having on Avani, whether he's going to be more on her side about the situation. Maybe.
And also, we've seen Amy's quite open with Jack, and she's told him the truth about what happened, about how it wasn't Avani's. So if he is actually going to believe that, then he can see morally that it shouldn't have happened and that they weren't her drugs.
Yeah.
Because I was surprised Amy was like, "Dad, I'm having a party," and then when it went wrong, that's a great relationship to have with your kid, though. Like, she, that she can ring you and you're not going to get her into trouble because the wrong person's turned up.
Yeah.
So the fact that Amy can be that open with him, he's going to believe that on the day actually they weren't Avani's, and then hopefully he's going to have more sympathy about the situation.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. Hopefully. We shall see. The only other thing I have to say about this is that can you imagine if Denise and Ravi had got together through the choice and Denise was an extra influence in this storyline? That might have been interesting, wouldn't it?
It would have been very interesting. There's a lot of scope for Denise to have been involved in all this.
We haven't seen her once since the choice was made. No, it's almost as though there's no storyline in Denise and Jack, isn't it? It's very odd, very strange.
Don't say that, Rob.
No, can't be. Honestly. Right, ladies and gents, let's move on to the next story. So, on to Nicola, Zack and Barney now. Right, I'm just going to say this straight off the bat. Barney and Avani, I am so shipping. I want this to happen. I think it's adorable. Barney's adorable. I think his little crush on Avani is adorable. I want this to happen. All right, that's my
Agreed.
2 cents on that. Okay, and he is starting to feel a bit self-conscious. And I think if you had Harry as a brother, you would feel self-conscious about that sort of thing, wouldn't you? 100%.
There is that, but I also think some of it was just Teddy who got him thinking it.
It was Teddy. I think it was Teddy. Yeah. It might have been
necessarily thought it to start with, but then when Avani walked past him and then Teddy made a comment, I think it kind of put it a bit.
It's put it in his head. Yeah, for sure. And so
also a great storyline for Zack to get closer to him, so win-win.
Exactly. So Barney at first is sort of like, well, I'm not asking Harry because that's just going to be embarrassing and he'll take the piss all day long. So Zack overhears them talking about it and sort of sidles over and says, "Looking for a gym person, are you? I'm here for that." And Teddy at first is a bit like, "Why? What do you want?" "I'll do it for free," says Zack. So the pair of them sort of put their differences aside. Obviously, Zack has his own ulterior motives. Because obviously he wants to get close to Barney. And it all seems to be going well at first. They're getting on, they're going for runs and stuff, and Barney's starting to feel a little bit more confident and sort of like, "Oh, this could work, this is good." Until Nicola returns home. And the first thing she discovers is that this is going on. So she storms round to Zack and says, "No, that's not happening." Zack tells her,
"My lads back on you again," she says.
Yeah, exactly. Zack tells her to do one. And then she overhears Tommy and Joel being lads. Now, it's very much being established now that Tommy and Joel are just the little shits of the square now, aren't they?
Joel seems like a proper wrong-un to me, though. There's something about Joel.
I don't think he's a proper wrong-un. I just think he's a little shit. I think there's a difference.
Oh, and I think he is a proper wrong-un. We don't know him well enough yet, do we?
We don't know him well enough, and it's interesting that they've put him with Tommy. So I'm quite happy for this to sort of just, they're just the little shits of the square. I'm quite happy for that to kind of go on Joel not to be this dark kid. But the fact that they've
that's costing all that money,
we don't know what's gone on there yet. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So we don't know what's gone on there yet. So you could be right, but regardless, at the moment, now obviously Nicola knew what was going to happen from this, right?
Yeah,
she must have done.
Did. Oh,
she must have done.
I don't
She's
know
evil.
how you can do that to your kids,
She's
especially
evil.
Barney. Like, what is
I know.
Well, I know what's wrong, but
yeah.
That would twist it. She heard him laughing.
She is.
Oh, great. You're two lads who were going to take piss out of him. I'll pay you 20 quid to go and do it there.
20 quid as well. 20 quid just to go and bully my son. He twisted.
And I thought like, Zack needs to go and have a proper word with Tommy and be like, mate, I've helped you out loads. Like, don't come into my workplace doing that kind of thing. Like, are you for real?
I agree. Yeah, I'd quite like that to happen. I don't know if it will, though.
No.
So obviously they go in and start like taking the piss and filming, and Barney kind of runs out in tears, and it's all very sad, and tells Zack, well, essentially thinks Zack has sort of been spreading it around that he's doing, which I thought was a bit of a sort of tenuous link for him to make. Like, why would he assume that Zack was the one that was spreading it around?
Because Nicola said to him, "Oh, don't say anything," but Zack really wants like you to cheer him on the sidelines. And then when they were recording, they said like, "I thought this is what you wanted. You wanted us to come down and cheer him on." They said that to Zack, so then Barney was like, "You invited him."
Right, yeah. Sorry, it was a few days ago. I've travelled and stuff since I saw that episode. I do apologise. So this, where does this? Is that going to be able to persuade him again, or what do we think?
I don't know. I can't decide. I think maybe in a week or two, when the embarrassment's like faded for him, or he can guarantee that that's not going to happen again. But it depends whether they've shared this footage online, and
which is what they do, isn't it? They do that now.
You'd hope that kids would just see that they were the ones being mean, because Tommy's there like, oh, he's about to cry, get it on camera. Like, what is wrong with you?
I mean, it's just bullying. This is the thing. Someone like Tommy, I think it's any opportunity where someone feels worse about themselves than what you do, and you just kind of cling on to that and make sure that they still feel worse than what you do about yourself, or at the very least, as bad as they feel about themselves as you do. That's what that is, isn't it? Whereas Joel, I think, is just sort of like, either a wrong or sort of just like enjoying that stupid teenage boy brain where it's.
I think they're a bad influence on each other, because I can't imagine Tommy doing that if he was on his own. I don't know about Joel, because we don't.
Bullies never do it on their own, mate. They always do it in front of their mates to impress their mates. Bullying is very rarely a single.
Comment, Rob. No comment. I don't want to get accused
of what? Having a go at bullies.
Like you can't say out these days. Women.
Yeah. So there you go. That's kind of going to kick. I feel like that's going to be sort of more developed next week. I feel like it was just sort of, because it happened at the end of the week, didn't it? So I feel like it's just going to be something that rolls into next week. I'm glad that Nicola's back, twisted as she is. She's one of these characters that you just don't know what she's going to do next, and I love that.
The audacity of it to be cuddling him like there, Barney.
It's awful.
She's over his shoulder.
She's a horrendous woman. I love her. She's a horrific human being. No,
Zack's not going to let this drop.
Do you think he's worked out what? Do you think he's worked out what she did?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
He knows that she did it. The smirk just confirmed it for him, didn't he? I think he already suspected.
She's got that smirk down, hasn't she? The classic soap bitch smirk. She's got it.
She's brilliant.
I love her. She's such a good character. I'm so excited to sort of see how mad she could go. Like, she's, especially with the upcoming stuff with the site and all of that kind of thing. Harry's girlfriend. Clearly, the more desperate she's going to be one of these women that the more desperate she becomes, the more crazy she's going to become. I can't wait. Bring it on. Right, ladies and gents, before we get to Sonia's and Bianca's exits, let's have a conversation about poor Nigel. On to Nigel now. His condition is getting worse, isn't it? It's just every single time we see Nigel, I just want to reach through the screen and hug the poor man. Like, it's so sad.
It's more heartbreaking every time we see it now.
It really is.
On the journey of it starting to get worse, I think.
I mean, how long do you reckon we've got him for? Because realistically, they could make this last until, I think, at the end of the year.
I've seen somebody online speculate Christmas might be a good time, for it to come to an end, the storyline kind of thing. So maybe.
September they tend to like do big stuff, don't they? So I can see maybe either September or Christmas. I can see this happening for.
When did he start with us? He might be on a year contract.
Yeah, I think. Well, it was last Christmas. Yeah, he turned up on Christmas Eve, so year's contract that would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah. We reckon Christmas then.
Oh, I don't know how fast. I don't. You probably don't know, but with early onset dementia, is it a quicker?
I don't know. Like I don't know.
Or
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I
don't know.
Affect everybody differently.
I think he even said this, doesn't he? Like it affects everybody differently. It's not a simple case of how long have you got. Like they don't work it out like that with dementia. I don't think, do they?
I feel like with my granddad, it felt like quite a few years.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It's awful.
Horrible.
It really is. It's cruel disease. And so what we got this week was him wandering into the video store, and I thought it was really nice the way that they did that. Like he's kind of convinced that he works in the video store again. He's sort of forgotten about the calf, and he sort of walks into the pharmacy as it is now.
Yeah.
And I love the way that they sort of had like the video stuff all sort of on the outside, and he walks in and it's a pharmacy, and he's sort of like, what the hell's going on here? Like I thought that was really nicely sort of subtly done.
Yes, it was subtle because it's clever because it's not like we saw him staring at it. It's just that in his mind, that's out of the corner of his eye, and that's what he see out of the corner of his eye, rather than him analysing something in detail and thinking it. Yeah, it was really
it's just all about the way that you do these things, because so often like the soaps tend to go down this sort of really sort of extravagant route, with blurry cameras and all that kind of thing. You don't need to do that. You don't need to. It takes you out of it, doesn't it? Whereas if you do it as subtly as they're doing this, it might, it's similar to the way that they did when Denise was having a psychosis. They didn't go crazy with it. They just sort of no weird sound effects or anything like that. They just sort of made it happen on screen.
Appearing from curtains and that kind of thing.
Just naturally creepy with no sort of fanfare to it.
It didn't take you out of the moment and go, this don't feel real. That's when you know they've done it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does feel real. It was really, really well done. Jean and Nigel, this looks potentially to be quite a nice little friendship that seems to be developing here.
Yeah, definitely. Jean's a nice person to be. But then again, like Jean's got a lot going on, so I guess this could play into hers and Harvey's relationship even more, that she's
maybe put an extra bit of pressure. Yeah, because she does that, Jean, doesn't she? Like she'll see a project and sort of like become quite sort of really intense about it, won't she?
I think as well, just because it's I know she doesn't know exactly, but because it's going to be mental health related, I think she'll always be there to try and help someone.
Absolutely.
She can just relate so much, can't she?
Because she's an advocate for sort of, and always has been this. When Jean's in a good state of mind, if she sees somebody struggling with any sort of mental health, she's on it, isn't she? It's going to be interesting to sort of see that kind of follow through with Jean. Not forgetting about Yolanda's involvement in it as well. Hopefully, I hope that continues. So
Phil's noticing it as well, because then Nigel seemed quite. Because he got muddled up, didn't he? So in some ways he seems capable, and then he said, "Oh, I need to go to the calf now anyway." And then he went, "Oh, Mr. Leeson's going to think I'm late." And
he's just getting it all sort of muddled up. He's not going to be able to do the calf much longer, is he?
You wouldn't think, and I think more and more people are going to start realising soon.
We're getting to that stage.
Into him.
Yeah, Jean's, I think, I got the impression that Jean worked out what was wrong with him quite quickly, because it's quite. I think so, because I think it presents itself as quite a distinctive thing, doesn't it? When you're sort of walking around and saying that a building that hasn't been there for 30 plus years is what it is now. It's quite a sort of like, I think I might know what's wrong with you, mate. It can be.
Yeah, no, you've got a point.
There's only there's only a very small amount of things that could lead you to do that, I think, isn't there?
Yeah, or maybe she's suspecting psychosis, but again,
maybe,
like you say, it's quite a specific thing when you're referring to something that like from the past. So
I mean, well, Rita and Corrie, when she had a brain tumor, she was doing that sort of thing. I seem to remember.
I was going to say there's quite a few illnesses that can make you like that anyway, in fairness. Did you know that when the elderly get a UTI, it can present as dementia?
Really? No, I didn't know that at all.
I learned that the hard way with my nan.
Yeah, I bet.
It's quite bizarre, actually. So there could be other things, I guess, in a way that.
I think that's I think dementia might be the first thing she jumped to, though.
Yeah, probably.
I think.
Then again, you wouldn't think he's the age for dementia, so you never know.
No,
but I think we'll find out next week.
Yeah, I think this is going to be.
Phil's going to be open with her about it, because he's still respecting his privacy at the moment. But then, at what point does he have to go? you're not capable to make that decision anymore, and for your safety, other people do need to be aware.
I think that's the thing. It's getting to a stage now, I think, where people have to know what's going on. Because if they see Nigel sort of wandering around on his own, they need to be at a stage where it's just like, you're right, Nigel, everything good? Yeah. Like, what's going on? You're okay?
Even I know about a neighbour near me who's got dementia. Like, and you know, I wouldn't exactly say I'm like EastEnders in the community kind of thing, but even I know that there's a man who's got dementia in which house he lives at. So
yeah, and you need to sort of be aware that if he's wandering around at 2:00 in the morning in his pajamas, something's probably gone a bit.
For somebody.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to get to that stage pretty soon with Nigel, I think. I've seen a few pictures that sort of suggest that we're going to get a lot more of the storyline next week. So I say I'm looking forward to it because Paul Bradley's been incredible throughout this, and I am enjoying this storyline because I'm enjoying Nigel, but at the same time, it's like wanting to be sad because it just makes me sad. It really does. It's doing it very well.
Obviously, like, people with dementia, don't get me wrong, they're suffering and everything, but sometimes it can be worse for the people
around them,
alongside that person, because in a way they're not aware.
Nigel said this at the start, didn't he, when he was talking to Yolandi about it? He said that the reason he left Julie is because he's got the easy bit. Julie was going to have to be the one that would watch him forget her and all that kind of thing.
I mean, I dare say, though, having said that the stage Nigel's at now, where he's a bit in between, is probably the worst part. Once it's took over, they're kind of not unaware.
Yeah,
I'm basing this on my
your own experiences.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Where towards the end, it were like, do you know what? It's not as bad as like a year ago because you're not even aware that you've got it now, and you sometimes have to kind of indulge whatever fantasy they're in.
Yeah.
It's
sad.
Strange.
It's cruel. Sad. It really is. So more to come with that next week, I think. But it breaks my heart. Right, final section of the podcast. Julia's theme has played. Sonia and Bianca have left the building. The end of an era has arrived. Sonia's gone, Bianca's gone, Bex has gone, and they've all gone off on the back of a boat, with Julia's theme tinkling away in the background and Sonia cacophonising into a trumpet. Lovely.
Brilliant. A lovely ending.
Wasn't it just? So this week played out. At the start of the week, I was pissed off, all right? Because they were doing this whole thing with Kim and Mo.
Oh, God.
Winds me up. Why are they doing this with Kim? It drives me mental.
Do you know what? It's almost like they've gone, we need to fulfill some hours in your contract, so we're just going to make Kim do this bit. Because really, it should have just been a total stranger for me, that. So unrealistic. Like, being there while Bianca's having a panic attack.
Kim's had panic attacks. Yeah.
Kim?
Yeah.
Nah. And Mo. And Big Mo. What have they turned Big Mo into as well?
Mo is a horrible character these days a lot of the time, isn't she? Like, remember a few weeks ago when she was literally taking the piss out of Phil for trying for a attempted suicide attempt. That was awful. Like, why are they making Mo like this? It's kind of like, I don't know. It's like they don't know what to do with Mo, and they're sort of just turning her into this really horrible old woman. And it's just like, can you not? Can you just I mean, I know that she has always been rough. Let's not pretend, but. It's like
nasty like this.
Yeah, and it is nasty a lot of the time. Yeah. And as for Kim, like shoving a camera in Bianca's face when she's clearly in the middle of having a panic attack, it's just like, come on. This whole Kimfluencer thing just isn't funny, and it just annoys me.
I agree now. Yeah,
it just gets on my nerves. It really does. So I hope that they sort of wheel back on it a bit because it's driving me mad. It really is.
Maybe they can make Kim get cancelled and then it'll all.
That would be interesting, actually.
There we
go. That would be a really interesting storyline to cover. Like, sort of like, so you want to do all this. Well, let's see what happens when you do something wrong. And
like
then
filming someone having a panic attack.
Yeah. I think that would actually that's a very, very good idea, Ree. Fair play.
Soz, you welcome me, EastEnders, if you want to use that one.
There you go. But basically what happens is, because this podcast that Bianca's recorded is apparently, it seems like everyone in the world has listened to this podcast, right? Yeah. It's worldwide famous now.
Even in Bali, people are listening to it, right?
It's crazy, the reach that this podcast has had. And obviously, because all podcasters are scum, they keep saying this. Like, Kat keeps attacking podcasters, and I'm like, this is us now. I'm starting to feel personally attacked.
So thanks, Kat. You've not just made somebody think, I wonder if there's an EastEnders podcast. And go, yeah, well, there'll be scummy.
There is, and there'll be absolute scum of the earth if they do present it. And to be fair, she ain't far wrong. Let's be real here.
I mean, anyone can get a
if the cap fits. So what what occurs because of this podcast and, you know, all the sort of resulting furore because of it.
Yeah.
A mysterious man arrives on the square and knocks on Sonia's door. Bianca has seen this bloke first, and before he said who he was, did you have any sort of idea who this bloke might be?
Did I think at first? I did suspect. I can't remember when it was though, but at one point before he said who he was, I was like, is this the real Sonia's dad? Is that
the real Mr. Cant?
Yeah, I did. Terry Cant.
Who came up with that for his name? I mean, honest to God,
bad name for a Cockney accent.
It really is. It really, really.
I don't know who I was suspecting. I did suspect it could have been somebody else, but it's gone out of my brain because we know who he is now. But yeah, yes. Who did you suspect it was?
I wasn't sure because when Bianca was talking to him and he was saying stuff like, "Oh, I haven't seen you since he was a kid," I got the impression, I was like, "Am I supposed to know who this bloke is now?"
Yeah, I did that as well.
Yeah. Like, I might be in a really bad fan and I can't remember who this character is. They brought someone back and I can't remember who they are. Yeah. But turns out he is the real Terry Cant. Now, there was a side of me that kind of was like, I feel like this is because of Rocky. It almost felt like we've sort of been here before, and it was sort of like Terry, the real Mr. Cant coming in. I just have to be so careful. The real Mr. Cant coming in and saying who he is. It was sort of like, I feel like if we hadn't done Rocky, this might have felt like even bigger for Sonia than it actually was.
Mean, yeah, it was a bit underwhelming when he was like, "Oh, I'm your dad." It's like, "Oh, right, here he is then. Nice one."
Having said that, I'm very pleased that it went in the direction it did because. Yes. When I remember when Rocky first arrived and we all thought he was the real Mr. Terry Cant, we were sort of like, yeah, but this is a guy that we know used to hit Carol and sort of was like a real bastard, basically. Like we knew that about him.
Oh, you've been very sweary this episode.
He put the Cant in Terry Cant, he did.
Hey.
This is why we have an E rating on our podcast every week, right? This is why.
Does that mean I can say other words then? Okay.
We can't say the real surname. I think we've got to be careful with that one. I tell you what, I was amazed that they managed to go through the whole Rocky era without making a joke about it, and they managed to slip a joke in this week, and I thought they did it very well. I thought they did it very well.
When Bianca was Google searching him,
that's not how you spell that, Bianca. Oh yeah,
good one.
Yeah, very good, likes that. It's very well handled. One of those things where it's just like, I'd love to know what the mood in the room in the editing suite was like when that joke first got suggested. You know, there's a few little nervous. Can we say that? Screw it. Let's see what happens.
No, it was subtle enough. They did well.
Yeah, it was very good. Very good.
It's sort of people's heads.
I think so. I think so. It was very, very good. So yeah, this bloke sort of turns up and is all sort of apologies and sort of like, yes, I know I should have got in touch with you sooner. Yeah, it was all into meditation and everything. Yeah. Did you believe him? What did you think? Because I thought
mindfulness stuff.
Well, I was sort of. Now, did you believe he was a good guy? Because I was sort of like, we know Sonia's leaving this week, so he was kind of like, you've genuinely thought the storyline was going to be Daddy comes back into her life again, and then they go off together, and that's the end.
Yeah, genuinely thought, oh, she's going to go. Do you know what? Yeah, this is my time to get to know him and leave.
Yeah.
And even when Bianca were warning her off him, I did actually think she's not going to believe Bianca, is she? I was like, don't do it again, Sonia. But then again, to be fair, even I didn't believe Bianca at one point. I'm like, but he seems like a nice guy. Maybe he has changed. He's talking about all his mindfulness and, you know.
After everything that Bianca went through and you still didn't believe her, Ray, honestly.
I know, right? Well, I doubted her. I wouldn't say I didn't believe her, but I did.
It's ever since
you... Sure, Bianca, you're being a bit overprotective.
It's ever since you went meditating under that tree. Anybody that comes, like, sprouting mindfulness, you believe automatically, don't you?
It wasn't under the tree. We, you know, our energies, we had some tree bark that had been hit by lightning. Yes, that's what it was, Rob.
Yeah, Ree once went meditating under a tree that had been struck by lightning, and
it wasn't under the tree; it was under the bark of a tree that had been struck by lightning. So they lit it and were like, "Woo!" And I was like, yeah, it smells like burning tree bark. Woo!
Oh, Ray, if you're sniffing things and then going woo afterwards, that has got nothing to do with meditation and mindfulness. That's just called acid.
Actually, was it then? Oh, maybe.
Maybe. You never know. Anyway, so Bianca is all sort of like, no, let's not do this. This bloke's clearly is a wrong un. Is a wrong un. We can't do this. And I agree with you. I was sort of like, how are they gonna? He does seem all right. He does seem all right until the penultimate episode of the week, where he went dark again and sort of showed the Terry Kant as was. And I'm actually very pleased that they did that because, like I say, we are aware that Terry Kant used to be like this, and I was pleased that they sort of did him properly and showed that he is still like that.
Yeah, and it goes to show you that they can appear like they're not as well, and how easy it could be for somebody to be taken in by someone like that, because you were doing really well at covering it up.
He was.
Let's be real. It's like to Sonia.
Word on you.
It did. It did.
Yeah.
Although then like him and Bianca had words, and then the way that he were like milking that Sonia and Bianca were arguing started making me go,
manipulation.
Are you all that you seem? Really?
Yeah. So, and he leaves with Bianca bruises on her arm as well, doesn't he? Like he proper like yanks her arm and is
rough,
rough,
and what he was
violent
saying to her. I was shocked when that happened. Were you?
Yeah. I was pleased that it happened though. I was pleased because I actually thought if this is Sonia's exit and Daddy just returns and then she's off, that's rushed and that doesn't feel right. Yeah. So I'm pleased that it went the direction it did.
But he served the purpose of making Sonia realise that she wanted to leave Walford. Which
I think worked better than it was being made. We were being led to believe the storyline was. The way it worked out, I think, worked better than what we thought it was going to be, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and something that we should mention, very exciting, completely unannounced little return of Rocky. That was lovely. Loved it.
I was not expecting that.
No, wasn't expecting that at all.
Speculating online, does it mean he's coming back? But I think he just came back.
No, I think it was.
Exit,
I think that was all it was for. Yeah, I can't remember how long he's in prison for, but it wasn't anything other than what it was. I don't think. But it was lovely to see him. I love Rocky. I really miss Rocky. I think he was a great character.
I miss Rocky. It was nice seeing him. Do you know what? Yeah. I can't believe Rocky came back and we didn't see anything of Carol. Bless.
No.
Although I guess.
Yeah, I told you. Yeah.
You did.
But really nice. I think, it was all a bit sort of like, I'm not quite sure why he's here, but I didn't care. I loved it. It was just a nice little additional element to the episode, wasn't it?
I understood it, actually. I think Sonia knew that she was leaving, and she had that one last piece of advice. Like she said to him, "You've been the most fatherly figure I've had."
Yeah.
And I think her gut were telling her there was something off with Terry as well.
Yeah.
And I think she just needed somebody to say to her, trust your gut. Do what's right for you. So
yeah, but it was really nice to see him, and I'd love Rocky to come back. I really would, because I feel like him and Kathy have still got unfinished business.
Yeah.
So there's a place for Rocky. I think they could bring Rocky back quite happily if Brian Connolly chooses to come back.
He might come back for Jasper when he gets released.
He might be. The parrot still lives on. The parrot still lives on. I want to talk about that last episode of the week. The opening minute. I loved that. I love it when they get the drone out. And I thought that opening shot was gorgeous on Thursday's episode. Just the drone flying through the square. One shot. Lovely. Loved that.
Did you not think it was serving a purpose?
What did you mean?
To show us where the garages were, because that's where we're going to get locked in later.
No, I didn't think that. I thought they were just being
cynic in me.
I know, right? I know.
It for the beautiful moment.
That's all I was doing. I heard Dot's voice and didn't think about story. I was just like, Dots and a beautiful drone shot. Beautiful. I don't know why Sonia chose that moment to listen to one of the most miserable monologues that's ever been given. And don't get me wrong, I love that monologue. It's beautiful, beautifully written, and June Brown was an absolute stunning performance throughout the whole thing. But my God, I don't know why you would choose to listen to that to make yourself feel better, because she's not happy in that monologue.
Yeah, but Sonia was smiling fondly, weren't she?
She was, yeah, a bit
nice
misery.
To hear Dot's voice, kind
miserable
of thing,
Dot.
You know?
That makes me happy. Yeah. It was nice though. Gorgeous opening moment.
So I don't end up miserable, actually.
Yeah. Otherwise, that could be me. In 50 years' time, I could be recording a miserable monologue, and the circle is complete. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. So Bianca, I loved the fact that Bianca went and told her what happened, and Sonia instantly was like, believed her. That was good.
Brilliant.
Good.
Yeah, that was good.
That felt like development and progression from the two, actually.
Yeah, and also, why would Bianca lie about it anyway?
Yeah, because that would be extreme.
You've got evidence as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah. But there was none of that sort of like, oh, no, you did that to yourself. You just want to stop me from being happy. You want to keep me to yourself. None of that. It was just like, Terry did that, did he? Right, let's go sort that out, and stormed out, and it all came out that she'd done it.
And even then, like Sonia was like, "Oh, so you went for him first," which Bianca did do.
She did, but
his reaction was still so unjust.
Over the
he could have
top,
just defended himself, couldn't he?
Yeah.
That wasn't defense. That was an attack back,
yeah,
weren't it?
100%. 100%. Yeah, 100%. So I'm glad the way that played out. And then I think later what Sonia does is test him, because they have a leaving party at the Albert.
Yes.
And with Terry there and Bianca there, she says, "No, it's all right. I'm not going with him. I'm just going to go and sort of see Whitney. I'm just going to have to take some time out." And he gets really angry. And I think that was a deliberate ploy from Sonia to sort of see what his reaction would be and how he would react, and sort of try and get the real Terry out of him at that moment. Did you?
Possibly. I could see that she might have done that, actually. She did it publicly as well, which was probably quite smart, just in case he did react physically. Yeah. Which he still could have done had Jack and everybody not come out and started witnessing it. Yeah.
Hasn't changed whatsoever, basically.
Do you know what, though? Like, Bex were all ready to go to Bali with this stranger as well. Like, we're a bit like, have you not learnt, though, that maybe you shouldn't have gone off with this stranger in the first place? Yeah. Like, was that a smart move?
Bex is all sort of like, travel, I'll do that. Yeah, that sounds great.
Bali,
yeah, Bali.
Love Bali.
Yeah. Bali's great. Yeah, love it.
Bex has gone as well now, then.
Yeah.
And we saw a bit of Bex with Lily, so is Lily going to be missing Bex now, I think.
Really nice stuff between Bex and Lily. I liked that because Lily obviously, again, is suffering from the grief of losing Martin. Her and Stacey aren't in a great place together. So she's also doing drugs and stuff, isn't she? Was it for drugs she took the money for? It wasn't it? Yeah, because she wanted to go to this party.
Lily conned Harvey into letting her do some work at Cat's Cabs.
Yeah.
Stole the petty cash money.
Yeah.
Went and bought some weed. Smoked it all, and I think she were looking after Charlie as well at the time.
Yeah, not good.
She seemed kind of with it, but also not with it. So...
I love the fact that Bex turned around and went, "You're stoned. I can see it, and I recognise the smell because I've lived places. I've lived in countries where that's the natural aroma. That's stoned."
Why I'm surprised more people didn't notice it with Avani carrying it around so fair.
They're not as well travelled as Bex in Wolford, are they? To be fair. So
fair play to her for fulfilling her big sister role.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice because she gives her the money. It's just like, "I don't want it back. Just sort your life out, all right? Don't do this again. This is a point." She kind of gives Lily that moment of like, right, so this is the moment for you to just sit and reflect about where you are right now. You can go one or two ways from here on in. You can sort yourself out, or you can keep falling down. It's up to you. But this is the 40 quid to pay back for that petty cash.
But then she didn't. She didn't chuck it away though, did she? Because then Jean found it later at the house.
Yeah.
So she still didn't actually listen to... Because I've got a feeling that Avani's going to stop now.
Yeah.
Lily's going to carry on.
Lily's going to carry on.
That's the vibe I'm getting,
Yeah.
Because Lily seems to, like, handle it okay, if you know what I'm saying. Like, when...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, people aren't noticing it when she's doing it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Other than Bex.
Other than Bex, yeah. No, I know what you mean. But I feel like...
maybe... Go on.
I just feel like Jean's now on it now, so she's not going to give Lily a moment's peace from here on in, is she? They've agreed not to tell Stacey, but how long that lasts for remains to be seen.
And now that as well, weren't Charlie like playing around with bags?
Yeah,
so maybe that will be enough for Lily.
I thought they were going down the route of like, it was an empty bag, wasn't it? I was like, oh my god, is Charlie eating it? That's terrible. Like, I thought they were going down that route.
Do that.
No.
So yeah, maybe she will stop. But
we'll see.
I'm not convinced if she did carry on.
Yeah, I'm not convinced because she's struggling.
Be more secretive about it.
Yeah, she's just like, no. The lesson here is don't get caught. That's the lesson I've learned from this. So we'll see. But I feel like Lily's struggling big time at the moment. So I feel like that's not the end of that. So they have a big old confrontation, Bex and Bianca and Sonia and Terry. And Bex throws Terry into a garage, locks the door. Fair.
Yeah,
that's the way to deal with it, isn't it?
That was her impulsive reaction to what was happening, weren't it?
It was very good. Yeah, well done. And they just lock him in the garage. They've got his tickets to go, and they've got his car, and they've got his boat. They nick all of it, and they're off.
Why not? Why not?
Well done. And then tell George to let him out in 3 hours.
Well, I did think it were a bit contradictory of Bianca to be locking someone in a garage. Did you not think? I know it's only for a couple of hours, but...
Yeah, well, she did say, to be fair, I know what that's like. So chill out, and then we'll let you out, because that's rough. So there was a comment made about that.
Okay. All right, okay, but still, anyway, it got the ending that we needed. It were a
Yeah.
nice way for Sonia to leave, and Bianca as well. 'Cause we had Bianca for quite a while, haven't we?
We've had Bianca on and off for like a year, well over a year,
Yeah.
since Whitney's exit. So this has been a good old stint for Bianca, and I think a very strong stint for Bianca as well. I think it's been a great
I
Bianca
agree, because
stint.
sometimes when characters return for stints, they can be quite weak. Like they might not get good storylines, but it has been a good one for her. Yeah.
The answer to who is going to get Sonia's house was answered this week. Lauren and Peter have got it, and they're just going to pay Sonia rent. Yeah, so they're just going to pay Sonia rent. So that's that's the new occupants of that house.
Once the nights are out and back in the Vic.
Yeah. So do you think that is the very, very end of Sonia? Do you reckon that she might be back?
They've left it open. Natalie Cassidy's having a break. It could be 5 years. It could be 10 years. It could be 15 years. But
she could be back.
Let's be real. They could have killed her off in the anniversary.
They could
have killed her and Martin off if they wanted to.
God, imagine that. Imagine that.
But they easily could have. So they've definitely left the door open.
What I love is that Bianca has gone with them. Left Morgan to his own devices. See you later.
What is he, about 18 now, Morgan?
Yeah, well, to be fair, he didn't seem that bothered that she'd been locked up in a garage for 3 months, so why should she care? Fair.
You know, she's in Bali. They might not stay in Bali for long. They might just have a little holiday, then come back.
I feel like, realistically, Sonia and Bianca living together abroad full time, that's not got longevity to it, has it?
Mate, do you know what I'm amazed at? That she managed to get Julia a passport sorted already. Fair play to you, Sonia. Well done.
Yeah, that's not easy either. That's not easy.
They don't just go on the mum's passport these days. They have their own little passport now.
You know when Beck said, "Oh, we can pay to get the names changed on the tickets"? I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, that is a thing.
I did not know that was a thing. That seems like a very easy way of stealing airline tickets.
That's true. Maybe you have to be the person who booked it to be able to do it or something. I don't know, but then no, but you can,
Sonia's name was on it. Yeah.
I have been the person who took somebody else's place before, so it is.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Noted for whenever I want to steal a holiday in future. That's just possible to do. Excellent. Yeah. But a nice exit for Sonia. We've just accumulated, I think, our 5th Julia's theme this year, so we're raking them in this year.
Wow.
I don't think we've ever had this many in 1 year.
But yeah, Karen and Bobby still didn't get one, so they're obviously coming back soon.
Obviously, so, yeah. Well, Bobby's still to be revealed as the attacker of Cindy, don't forget.
Right, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, next month.
Absolutely.
Next month.
Absolutely. Gold star this week, Ray.
You know what? I know I'm going to give it to Bianca. I'm giving it to Bianca for helping Sonia see the real Terry.
Yeah, and let's give Sonia her last gold star, shall we? There you go. Sonia and Bianca, gold stars this week. Lovely. Nice exit. I liked the exit. It was fun. It felt like the last episode of the week was really nice. It was
Do you know what? Do you know what I did like though about the exit? Right, she could have got really sad about finding out who Terry was, but instead she were able to laugh and be like, do you know what? Don't need him anyway.
No, use it to her advantage. She's got me a holiday. See you later.
You're not a nice guy. Don't need any more. You know, not nice guys. I've got my sister and I've got my daughters. Bye.
Yeah. Done. Nice. I mean, what's going to happen with Terry? I feel like we're not going to see Terry again. I don't think we're going to see him leaving the garage and realise that his car's gone, his boat's gone, and his holiday's gone.
No, I think we're going to see that. I think we might have George go. I let him out, and
well, he weren't happy.
Very happy. Yeah,
he was quite cross. Yeah, and that'll be it. Yeah, there we go. Right, ladies and gents, as usual, final bit of the podcast is some comments from you.
So a bit of news before we get to the comments. It has finally been announced that the British Soap Awards are returning for 2025. Yes, I believe. Indeed. The 31st of May, 2025?
Yeah, something like that. I don't think it's a live show again. I think they're pre-recording it again. Yeah. So I don't think it's live.
Yes. But get voting. If
yes, please get voting. Yes.
Preferably for EastEnders, of course.
Obviously for EastEnders. Obviously for EastEnders. Best soap, please. I think there was a bit of a kick-off because I think it was the Soap Awards. Steve McFadden's not up for the best for one of the voter categories. But I feel like there's going to be other categories that he's eligible for that are voted for by a panel, I think.
Potentially. Or do they do, like, are the awards for this year going to be based on things from 2024 as well? Because he's really been prominent in 25, hasn't he?
Maybe.
So if he doesn't, you'd think for next year. But it is still surprising that he's not had any recognition that we know of
I
yet.
think
But...
I think just wait till we see what all the other categories are that are voted for on the panel before we kind of light our torches about that. But Patsy Palmer's up for a comedy award. Angela Winter's up. I think Kelly Bright's up. Lacey Turner's up.
Lacey Turner,
so yeah. So lots of things EastEnders wise to vote for.
Chowdhury, I think.
Yes.
So that implies to me it's based on 24 then, because
maybe
he literally died at New Year. So
yes, exactly. So get voting, please, people. And first comment this week, Ree.
We've got a comment from Sarah who says, I really enjoyed certain parts of this week, with the scenes featuring Yolandi and Avani standing out as particular highlights. I love the role Yolandi plays in the square now and how she supports everyone around her. I'm pleased that Sonia and Bianca reconciled and left together, but I found Terry's character entirely pointless. There was no development at all, so I'm struggling to see the purpose of his inclusion.
I would say that the point of Terry was so that they needed somewhere to go, so they got off to Bali on the back of a boat. That was the point of Terry. Also, I do kind of think that the lack of development was exactly the point of Terry, because he hadn't developed since he was with Carol. So that kind of.
And also, potentially, we're viewing a bit of Sonia's closure. We know she was looking for her dad. She's found him. She doesn't need him.
Don't want him. Yeah, I'm quite right too. Anne Stones has said, I thought I'd clicked on an old EastEnders for a start, hearing Dot's voice. They put June Brown in the closing credits because of this, which was a nice touch. Sonia, glad she went off with Bianca and Bex and not Terry. I really liked that little Dot scene. It was lovely. Yeah, it was, and they did throw her into the credits as well, which was a nice touch. Yeah,
very nice.
It was nice. I loved that opening shot so much. I love it when they get the drone out and just show us the entire set and the square, and it's all sunrise and beautiful. It's got the prettiest soap set of any soap, I would say.
Yes, and I reckon we'll see it again. When the Queen Vic's been refurbed, I think that we'll get introduced to it hopefully by a drone shot. That'd be quite nice.
I love it when they get the drone out.
We've got another comment from Justy B who says the brass neck of Kim to sit there filming Bianca having a panic attack because of the anxiety and trauma from Reese when she's had the same thing from the car crash with Denzel is quite literally the most horrible thing I've seen her do. The Kim Flusser thing has always been a bit annoying and sometimes it can be a little funny, but this was too far and very inconsiderate of her.
Agreed. Yeah, I have to say. I think that idea you came up with, what would it be like if Kim got cancelled? That's a fascinating route to take that story down, actually. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
I think it kind of needs to happen, though.
Yeah, I do.
It's too out of character, all this that she's doing, and none of us are enjoying it anyway.
Yeah.
It's not even funny anymore.
No, it kind of gives an sort of unkind impression to influencers as well. Like they're not like that.
Yeah,
they don't. Most influencers just don't do that. Most influencers will sit at home and make a 10-minute little video of themselves and what their day is, so as opposed to just shoving a camera in someone's face like a over exuberant journalist.
Do you know what? The only character I could think that might suit is somebody like Janine if she turned into an influencer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean?
There's got to be that level of vindictiveness about it. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think get that sorted, please. And finally, Chris Davis says, thought it was a good episode and a great farewell for Sonia. However, would have liked to have seen a little interaction between Sonia and Phil, legendary characters, and having the Jamie link. Well, Phil did pay for all the drinks at the Albert, apparently.
They said there was a bit of...
No, but wasn't there. Okay. But I know what you mean though, because Sonia and Phil did have quite a interesting relationship at one point after the Jamie stuff.
And he even helped pay for some of the legal fees, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So it would have been nice, but actor availability, I think it's just one of those things sometimes, isn't it? And I think they managed to fill the Albert up with quite a lot of characters. We've not seen Penny for weeks, and she was in there, so that was quite nice to see.
Bidding farewell to her cousin, of course.
Indeed. So that's it for this week, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. If you'd like to get involved with the comments, you can do the following.
You can find us on Facebook at Albert Square After Dark, on Twitter and Instagram at E20 After Dark. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple and all your favourite podcast sites. Drop us an email at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by going on buymeacoffee.com/E20 After Dark.
Hell yeah, you can.
Here
yes.
At the same time next week.
On time. No, not at the normal same time. On time next week.
On Saturday next week.
Yes. All being well, we should be here at the usual time next week. Talking of next week, Easter on the Square. And all I would say is I've seen a picture, and if you thought Nigel couldn't be any more adorable, you wait till you see him in a rabbit outfit.
Oh, Nigel.
I know. Very, very sad. So make sure you're here for that. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
See you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.